got to put on there.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Both rabbis are away again. Rabbi Z is doing something far more important than leading our service. He's with our youth at Green Family Camp, and you must know he's in his element there. I'm sure he enjoys it. And Rabbi M is enjoying a vacation a much deserved vacation in Colorado. And so us lay folks get to do the service as it always was in the days of old, when the rabbi or teacher sat on the side and counseled and led, and the service themselves, the congregants led the service. I don't see any guests here from out of town, so let's go ahead and get started. And Hollis, if you'd honor us by lighting candles. Introducing Shabbat has been done for millennia by the lighting of candles. Come over here.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Amen. Thank you.
Again, welcome everyone, whether you're here or watching online. You'd be surprised, maybe sometimes between 10 and 20 people watch online. So that's a good crowd. So who did I ask to, Stephen, would you grab the cup and lead us in Kiddush?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Sorry. Let's start one more time. I apologize. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kosho ba'avad v'ratzon inkilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, yihu yom tehillah lamikra kodesh, zecher letzniat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, v'yotanu kidashta, min kol ha'amim, v'shabbat koshecha, be'ahava u'vratzon, inkaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
On page 124. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within its walls, we sit by and think about this, numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. And throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, of love, of justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Together, please. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door, and the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. Maya Fe Hayom's on 128.
Maya Fe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Maya Fe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
The Hatzi Kaddish is on 144. Please join John in chanting that. V'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yamad b'vrachute, v'yamlich malchute,
Bechayechonu yomechon, u'kayedechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'akala, ba'akala, u'vizman karim, ve'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach, ve'alahu al me'amaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitahar, Yitroman, Yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitalev, Yitala, Shemei Kurisha, Rechu, Le'al min kol Yechata v'shirata, Tushechata v'nechemata, Damiran bi'alma, v'yimru.
Amen.
Page 146, please rise for the Barhu.
Baruchu et Adonai, Amevorach. Baruch Adonai, Amevorach, Leolam Vaed.
Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. Please turn to page 149. Together at the top of the page, praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamarim Harahim.
Ahavat olam, et Yisrael, Amcha avta, Amcha avta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadta, otanu limadta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shavbenu, u'kumenu na'asiyat bechukecha, v'nisma b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, u'va'em nekei oman
Please join me in the Shema on page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated. Please turn to page 154, and you may join me in reading the Via Hafta in English only. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments, and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Please turn to page 158. And responsively, who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders?
Your children witness your sovereignty. The cities waiting before Moses and Miriam. This is our God, they cried. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. On page 160, John.
Askivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom. Ufros adleinu shomreinu lechayim.
On page 163, will you join me in reading at the top of the page? We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time.
In the Shema, we are offered our praise and thanks to God. In the Tefillah, we make our requests of God, to remember the generations past, for God's care, for God's holiness, for Shabbat, for life and its blessings, and always ending with a prayer for peace. Please rise and join John in chanting, starting on page 164.
Please join me in praying.
Adonai Ufia Gita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Eloheinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Ugomei Hazbor, Ezoter Hasdem, Uhizi again. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Yitzchak Sarah.
Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mekayem hakol atah le'hoshia. Mehafeh Elohim bechesed, mekayem hakol
berachamim rabim. Zomek lokim
berofeh cholim,
umachtir asarim, umkayem
unato
le'nei afar, michamocha haleguros, melach, melech memit, umkayem, umatzah. Baruch atah Adonai, Menganei Hashakol.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, v'kadoshim b'kol yom, yahalucha selah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otah b'rira lavod. Turn to page 178, Shalom Rav. Tasim leolam,
Ki atah melech Adon,
lechol hashalom.
Ki atah melech Adon, lechol hashalom.
Shalom Rav, Elamcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav, Tasim
leolam, v'tol peinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, lehonet u'lachosha b'shavecha.
Shalom Rav, Elamcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav, Elamcha, Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. The sages of old knew we each needed time for our own private prayers. For a moment we pray silently, either the classic Elohei Nitzor on page 180, one of the other selection on 180 to 181, whatever comes to your heart.
Service for reading Torah begins on 363. Assemble the people, men, women, children, and strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children who do not know it yet hear, and that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God, our God. Next page.
Kim Etzion
Say Torah.
Kim Etzion Tetzei Torah. Adonai Yerushalayim.
We say it every week, but in that scroll indeed is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlul Adonai Iti, Uromama Shemo Yata. Please go ahead and be seated. And we got the right marks. You didn't know that Post-it notes are several thousand years old and in the right place here. So, a talking donkey is the star of this week's Parsha. Balak is a Moabite king. He feels threatened by the Israelites that are leaving Egypt. And he employs a prophet for hire, Balaam, to curse the Israelites. And after some back and forth about what price he's going to charge, Balaam saddles his ass, his donkey, and he heads out to meet the king. But, God is not too cool. God's not too keen on cursing Israel. And he stations an angel with a drawn sword to block the journey. But there's a catch. And we all know it's only the donkey sees the angel. The animal swerves off the path, and Balaam whacks it. The second time, the angel positions itself in a narrow place between two walls, and it crushes Balaam's foot against the wall, and Balaam smacks the donkey again. And the third time, the angel chooses such a narrow place that the Animal has no option except just to lie down, and Balaam hits it again. At which point, the donkey turns to Balaam and speaks. What have I done to you to deserve this? Now God, at that point, opens Balaam's eyes. He sees the angel who instructs Balaam to say only what God puts in his mouth. Of course, as was done by pagan priests, Balaam twice offers up bulls and rams on altars to influence God's choice, but Balaam just can't manage to curse the Israelites. For a third sacrifice, the king takes Balaam to a mountain peak overlooking the Israelite encampment, and that's where we begin tonight's reading. And where is Linda, who's honoring us with the reading? And this is Numbers 24.
Please join me for the Torah blessing on page 368.
368.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavarach. Baruch Adonai hamavarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna get this as close so I can see it if I have to. Thank you. Can I move this over so I'm in the middle? Because it goes up here. Okay, don't pull too much because it keeps moving. Okay, thank you. Vayar Bilam Kitov B'nei Adonai Levarech et Yisrael V'lo halach kefa'am befam likrat nichashim Vayeshed el hamidbar panav Vayisa Bilam et Anav Vayar et Yisrael Shochen lishpatav V'tihi elav Ruach Elohim Vayisa mishalo Vayomar Ne'um Bilam Beno ve'or hagever Shetum ha'ayin Ne'um Shemea Imre'el Asher machazeh Shaddai Yechazeh Nefel Ugalui Einayim Matovu ohalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael Kin cholim nitayu keganot ale nahar ka'al halim nataranai ka'arazim ale mayim yizal mayim midaleyav Vizaro b'mayim rabim vayarom me'agag malcho v'tinaseh malchuto.
And that translates as, come over in front of me.
And Balaam saw that it was good in the eyes of the Lord to bless Israel. And he did not go as on the times to encounter omens, but turned his face to the wilderness. And Balaam raised his eyes and saw Israel dwelling by its tribes, and the Spirit of God was upon him. And he took up his theme, and he said, Utterance of Balaam, Beor's son, utterance of the man open-eyed, utterance of him who hears El's sayings, who the vision of Shaddai beholds, prostrate with eyes unveiled. Ma tovu ahalecha Yaakov, mishnotecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. Like palm groves that stretch out, like gardens by a river, like aloes the Lord has planted, like cedars by the water. Water drips from his branch and his root in abundant waters. His king looms over Agag, and his kingship is lifted high. El, who brings him out from Egypt like the wild ox's antlers for him. He consumes nations, his foes, and their bones he does crush and smashes his loins. He crouches, lies down like a lion, like the king of beasts. Who can rouse him? Those who bless you are blessed, and your cursors are cursed.
The blessing after Torah is also on 368.
Please join. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Thank you. Margie, thank you. If you'd rise, please, so we can address the Torah. The ritual for that's on 370, I'm sorry. HaTorah
asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael. Ati Adonai v'yad Moshe. Lai, 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 lai,
Please, it's okay to be seated now, and you'll hold. We impose on our president to hold the scroll there for a while. So what are we supposed to do with a talking donkey? You know, a coworker or a neighbor says, okay, you don't believe in Jesus. What do you believe in? Oh, we believe in a talking donkey. Goes over well. The Orthodox, however, do believe it. It's one of the 10 miracles listed in the Talmud, things that violate the laws of physics and of nature that God created before he created the laws of physics and nature, before creating the world. A little bit less gullible, perhaps, is the famous German Jewish theologian Franz Rosenzweig. When he was asked if he believed that Balaam's donkey talked, he replied with kind of a wink in his eye and a twinkle, on the Shabbat they read it from the Torah, I believe it. So if you want to believe it today, it's okay. But for most of us, the story is a parable. It's a classic, literally sophisticated parable, complete with the standard 3 confrontations and the invisible angel, each one increasingly difficult to ignore. The great seer is blind, and the dumb animal, of course, can see that his rider's mission is contrary to God's plan. So, pagan religions, as you all know, sought omens and directions from God in many different ways. You roll dice, the Urim and Turim, or you read the entrails of sacrificed animals. And Baalim twice makes sacrifices of bulls and rams. That's the pagan understanding of the holy man, the shaman, the wonder worker, the person with access to supernatural powers. People thought he had the power to bless or curse whoever he chose, and Balak hired him for that purpose. And in fact, there probably was, believe it or not, a Baalim. There are plaster walls on a shrine in Deir Allah across the Jordan across the Jordan River in Jordan, goes halfway, say, between Jerusalem and Tiberias, across the Jordan. That's about where this is. And on these walls, dated from about 800 BC, it describes a seer by the name of Baalim, just as in the Torah, son of Beor, who prophesies about the end of the world. His knowledge came from El and the Shaddai gods. Those are reminiscent of God's names in Torah, El, Elohim, El Shaddai. And the text there presents Baalim as a prophet who divined future events based on information he got from the gods. But of course, the Torah takes precisely the opposite view. As the monotheistic revolution started to spread its wings, its proponents had zero tolerance for pagan polytheistic practices like sorcery and divination. The monotheism of the ancient Hebrews promoted the view, of course, of a single, all-powerful God, and the will of that God could not be influenced by human magic. The idea that you could hire a holy man to convince God to curse someone or bless someone presupposes that God could be bribed. So did you notice that Baalim, at the third sacrifice, when Margie read it, he did not go on as times before to encounter omens, but turned his face to the wilderness, turned his face to look to God. He wound up uttering that famous line, Ma tavu ohalecha Yaakov mishkanotecha Yisrael. How fair are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. Here is a non-Israelite, a non-Jew from across the Jordan whose words of blessing have for centuries been our introduction to Saturday worship. And when our rabbis chose the Haftorah to accompany that portion, we don't typically read Haftorah here, they intentionally took us from the ridiculous picture of a talking donkey to the sublime. The images in the parable of a talking donkey, the prophet for hire, the frustrated king, really gives us an anti-pagan image. So Micah, which is the Haftorah reading, uses this anti-prophetic, anti-pagan story of Baalim to encourage people to reject what is superficial and false. Baalim offers up bulls and rams on successive altars as he attempts to heed the blessing of the king who hired him. And he asks, should I come before God with burnt offerings, with yearling calves? Would the Eternal be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000 rivers of oil? And he answers his own question with a simple prescription. I had it printed on the inside of the service flyer on the first page. So if you would just read Micah's answer with me. It has been told you, O mortal, what is good and what the Eternal requires of you. Only this, to do justly and love mercy and walk humbly with your God. So if you like parables and stories, I'll leave you with this one from Ibn Ezra, a 12th century Spanish commentator, who wrote that the ass swerved from the road and went into the fields, and she left the beaten path and continued forward through the field where there was no path. Perhaps she's still out there somewhere, leading our way. While the scroll is out, we should remember those who are ill and in our congregation who would need words of healing. Please look at the list on the back of the service flyer. My own Beverly, you see, is there. She's recovering well from her recent surgery. Hope to have her off the list soon. Are there any other names we should remember? Very good, doing better. And Karen Annisman is doing better after I saw her here volunteering in the temple today. The Misha Barak is on 371.
Before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mechor habracha.
The ritual for returning Torah to the ark begins on 374. Please rise. Let us praise the name of Adonai, for God's name alone is exalted. Odo.
Odo le'eretz v'shamayim v'yarem keren le'amo ta'ila lechol chasida b'fnei Yisrael am kerovo. Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
For I have given you good instruction. Do not abandon my Torah.
It's lama chazima veton beveman leusha darchenom vechon tivotecha shalom ashivenu Adonai elecha v'neshuva kadesh kadesh yameinu kadesh yameinu kekedem.
And the Elenu is on 586.
Aleinu leshabeach le'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו בגודל הרצון, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חיינו חייהם, וקורתנו וקורת מונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
591.
ונאמר אדוני למלך כוח הארץ ביום ההוא הנה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated for a moment. This from Harold Schulweiss. Hold on and let go. On the surface of things, contradictory counsel, but one does not negate the other. The two are complementary, two sides of one coin. Hold on in Kaddish, Yartzeit, Yisker. No gesture, no kindness, no smile evaporates. Every kindness, every embrace has its afterlife in our minds, our hearts, our hands. Hold on, not enslaving memory that sells the future to the past, nor recollection that makes us passive, listless, resigned, but memory that releases us for a new life. The flow of life, the divine process that gives and takes, retains and creates, returns dust to the earth, not to bury hope, but to resurrect the will to live. There are no names on the Shloshim list. Yartzeits for this week, and please rise if you hear a name called of someone you're remembering. Stephen Allen, Abraham Antwell, William Bermond, Helen Baginski, Matilda Rosenbaum Karb, Gabrielle Cohn, Florence Kahn, Nathan Eckert, Sarah Fate, Elizabeth Finkel, Lena Jean Fleischman, William Friedman, Morris Hendelman, Rudy Kemp, Lena Klar, Pauline Clier Levy, Julius Kuhnen, Ben LaBelle, Pearl Brown Lynette, Samuel Levy Narrett, Sarah Nuremberg, Yetta Parker, Arthur Pritchard, Rose Raphael, Alfred M. Rosenfeld, Rochelle Sachs, Raleigh Schur, Marvin Schuster, Baby Schwartz, Mary Levine Schwartz, Rose Terrace, Alice Van Natta, William E. Weinchecker, Richard Weisberg, and Anna N. Wolfson. There are other names that should be added or people they're remembering? Because there are so many of our brothers and sisters with no one to say Kaddish for them, we all rise and praise the Most High with the words of the mourner's Kaddish. It Gadal v'it Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlichma rutei v'cha ekon v'mechon v'chaye dekol beit Yisrael b'ga'ala uzman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Barak Le'olam Amei Amaya. Yit Barak V'yishtabach V'yit Ba'ar V'yit Roman V'yit Naseh V'yit Adar V'yit Aleh V'yit Halal Shemei D'Kudashah B'rechu Le'et and Kol B'rekata B'shir Tush B'chata V'nechamata Da'amiran B'alma V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemayim V'chaim aleinu v'yal Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yal Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. And now, because it's an early service and so many of us are heading home to family and to dinner, I'd like to invite Margie and Michael and David back up, all our participants, and let's all join in the Motzi. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Good Shabbos, all. Good Shabbos. place. Yeah, good. Yeah, good.
Michael, good Shabbos. Just fine, thanks.
Know what it means.
Howard. Stephen Howard. I was just thinking of real lesson. Stephen Howard. The best way when you're putting the Torah back in is so that there's no sliding or slipping, is to make sure that both of these are forward so that there's no chance of one side slipping more than